Hello?
What's up?
What the heck is this thing?
Join on your phone. Have you played this before?
Do you need an app?
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Nah, join that. Do you know you're live at the moment?
Yeah. This is just, pre-podcast. Trying something different for once.
I'm there.
If you are tuning in, got a comment here. Happy Boost Tuesday.
Yep, I think everyone's going to be boosting.
I think Mikey's still 10 minutes away. So we've got Jake Baggins. If anyone wants to join and they are watching, it's a 7-question quiz. We're going to get to it before we start the podcast because Mikey is still a few minutes away. There we go. We've got a few people. Love the content, lads, by Evan Burnett. Cheers. Cheers, lad. It's been we're getting some people in. Only 4 of us, but are you set on your trades yet, Jake?
Yes, pretty set, although I haven't looked at team list. I just got home, so I'm glad Mikey's a bit late.
Yeah, maybe now's the time to have a look at it. Wade Egan is a trap. I guess we will get into that. G'day, fellas. G'day, Jeff. We're going to start the podcast very soon, but we're going to do a little quiz first. Gutho has joined. Who? Gutho has joined. Steve. I wonder if it's Steve Mortimer.
I don't think it is, mate.
Jake.
I know he's a big watcher of our podcast, but I don't think it's him.
Jake, it could be Jake Arthur.
No, that'd be me, mate.
Oh, that's you.
Don't insult me calling me Jacob Arthur.
Scott Minto has joined.
I think we're going to get quite a few little footy playing, though.
Tom Trebojevic has joined the chat.
Is that you by any chance, Savs?
It may be. We've got Sam. We've got Ezra. Guys, we're going to start very shortly. Just waiting, I think, 10 minutes on Mikey, so you don't have to join in on this. You don't have to watch. We're just trying something different to start the show off. It's just a little 7-question quiz. It's a very basic quiz, so just a bit of fun at the start of the episode. Usually me and Jake just sit here. Oh, Adam Dewey has joined. Yeah, usually me and Jake just sit here and we just we try not to talk too much because it's like we want to save the conversation for the podcast. All right, what are you at?
That must be Joshua Camplin tuning in.
That was what I first thought of. All right, guys, what are we at? We're at 4 minutes. I'm going to press start in about 20 seconds. So if you haven't joined, you can join along by watching the live stream anyway. So there you go. Team List podcast is about to drop, or we're about to start it. All right, we ready? I'll press start and it'll give about 30 seconds. Here we go. TLT, lads. Who is the most obscure buy you were thinking of this week?
You've got a picture of a player there. It's not even an option. What are you doing there, Savs?
This is probably a bad question to start it, to be honest. And my answer is Adam Reynolds. I will touch on that in the podcast. But Reece Walsh, he's the number one there. I like it. All right, we ready?
Yep.
Scoreboard. What?
Which means nothing.
How come no one got points? I don't get it. Who is the most traded in player this week?
Again, you've been very sloppy with your pictures here, Savs. Not even an option.
Because our TAFE teacher does this and he puts the answer as the photo. So I tried to throw people by doing it. Wade Egan is the most popular pick. The hammer was the second most popular. The answer is Wade Egan. And there we go. We've got points on the board there.
First
Jake
must have been a tester.
Jake is up front. Tom Trebojevic, which is me, second. Scott Minto, third. I think I'm going to purposely do the wrong answer so we get someone who is actually we've got James Rhodes here. Chester at fullback is a bit annoying. Want to vow to go fullback. I like that shout.
So you've got to factor in that all these guys are going to be on a bit of a delay to us as well.
True. Jermaine Hopgood is the GOAT.
I might leave it a couple of seconds before I pick my answer. Whoa! Who did know?
I did know because I wanted to get it wrong, so I wasn't up top.
Yeah.
There we go. So the answer is yes. Who's up the top? Ezra, Jake, Scott Minto. Come on, Ezra and Scott Minto. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll delay my answer here. Keep in mind, everyone, Savs did this quiz.
I want people to answer truthfully for this one. Very smart people here on this panel.
I think they're reading the host.
They probably are. Ezra is up top. Scott Minto is in third, not far behind Jake. This is a very basic quiz. Which one of these players are in the top 10? Dave Fafita, Adam Dewey, Junior Paulo, Tom Trebojevic. So this is the top 10 in total points scored. This is the kind of stuff we need to go forward with. This is...
I do like this, Savs. I think this is going to be a go for us going forward.
Junior Paulo is the answer. Only two people got it. Junior Paulo is at 10th. Oh...
Have you messed this up, Savs?
Oh, yeah. Let me just make sure. Players. Oh, no. Junior Paulo is 11th. Adam Dewey is 18th, though.
Well, so okay. Close enough.
I messed that up, but you would have not guessed that Junior Paulo was the highest scorer out of all. Two people did. Probably thrown you off because that actually wasn't a correct stat, but this is the kind of who is more traded out this week, Nathan Cleary or Kalen Ponga? There is a photo of James Tedesco right there. Nathan Cleary or Kalen Ponga, who's more traded out?
As of now, I'm guessing.
As of now, yeah. The answer is Nathan Cleary, actually. You'd think Kalen Ponga, considering the injury and not being named, but obviously the buy is throwing people off. And to be fair, Nathan Cleary was 60% owned in the first place. So, there's some changes in the leaderboard.
It's a tie at the moment. We're level with Ezra.
Yes. One more question. Who is ranked higher? Jake, Mikey, Savs, or Tim? With a photo of Tim.
Good looking bloke. I'll wait till all the answers come in before I answer.
There we go. Mikey and Savs was the most popular answer. Just one person voted Jake. It's actually Mikey.
You idiots.
Mikey's actually done quite well for himself, to to start the year, and that's probably why he's available today, because he's done well. There we go. Third is Scott Minto. Second is Jake, and number one, Ezra, you for joining in. Mikey's here. Ezra, for joining in and doing so well. I'm going to give you away a free prize. So
you've missed the quiz, Mikey.
I saw the bit with me coming first, so just in time.
Ezra, you're going to receive this. It's like a SuperCoach stubby cooler I took in Mr. SuperCoach. So send us a message of your address, and I'll send that when I send the BBL rings out. All right, cheers for joining in on that, guys. That was pretty fun.
I do like that, Savs.
You like it?
Yeah, yes, very much.
You think that
bit of audience involvement. It's good.
It is. I think that's my TAFE teacher does that. So I think I was doing it and I was like, that's a good thing for the show. Let's get started on the podcast, lads. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tom Trbojevic!
Get ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Teamless Tuesday is here. And the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best SuperCoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons. We're here on Teamless Tuesday, the biggest trading week of the year. I'm joined by the full panel. Jake, the coach of Kiss My Behinds, and Mikey, the coach of Troop Jacker Mafia. How are you, lads? Mikey, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Just made it just in time, except I missed out on that cool little quiz at the start, so bummer. But literally just got in the door from work, so yeah, realistically, all three of us are doing pretty well. But there's nothing in it. Like, one massive week, and you're right in that top 1,000. So happy with where I started, and as you said, Savs, it's a big week of trading. So looking forward to this week.
Jake, how are you?
Yeah, not as good as are you boys, but Sharks off a win, and I guess I missed a lot of the carnage that was over the weekend. A few HIAs, injuries, wasn't really affected, even though my score wasn't as great as you guys. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a big trade week and then the weeks going forward.
Guys, I missed out on all the carnage, and I still went down significantly in the rankings. I just had a bad week. I scored 940, captain Nathan Cleary. I mean, how bad is it having a captain on Thursday night and just death riding everyone all weekend? That was torture, but at the same time, everything worked out for me. I would have liked to capitalize this week, but moving forward, I don't have any pressing issues. So it is a big trading week, and we will get through it. But Mikey, talk us through your week and what went well for you. I'll be back in a second because my wife just got home.
Yeah, no, all good. So not 1,012, I think it was for me, which I'm very happy about. I had Kayla. It was looking all good till Kalen Ponga got me one. The Kalen Ponga really hurt, but still managed to scrape 1,000, went up 1,000 spots in the rankings, so sitting at 4,000, saved 2 trades last week. So I think whenever you can save 2 trades and go up in the rankings, it's a great week. The second rolls are just doing a job for me. Very happy with that. Other than that, realistically, kind of saw Sabs put up a post about Tedesco and was kind of on the fence all week. And, I was like, the percentages kind of evened out. And then I saw that Teddy was captain by 20% and Grant was only captain by 12. So decided maybe 20 minutes before kickoff just to change it. 40 points doesn't seem like much, but right now 40 points is like 4,000 ranks. So, or maybe not that, but between 2,000 to 4,000 ranks. So I think little things like that's a big move. And yeah, that Storm one wasn't looking good. Very good as well. But yeah, I'm happy with my week and ready to use a boost this week.
Well,
Over
I'm
to
pretty
you,
much
Sats.
only 200 points out of the top 100, so there is minimal points between a lot of rankings. A lot of people kind of because I don't own Tedesco, I think a lot of people were kind of looking at it as someone from my perspective, just saying I'm a non-owner, being salty. It's the reason I didn't own him. I think he had to start hot for people to want to be a good option to start with. He's still a good option in my opinion, but he's on the most traded out list this week, which I guess we'll talk about. But stats don't lie. Warriors is his fourth lowest averaging team that he averages against. Early in the year, Roosters are slow, so I think just a low scoring week. I think this was the actual week one where it's really low scoring. Jake, how'd you go and what were your shining lights?
Yeah, 957, similar to you, Savs. I guess the shining light was not having Kalen Ponga, not going Jackson Ford. Other than that, I kind of had a bunch of 40s and low 50s in my score. Sam Walker was good. But other than that, it was a pretty average and ordinary week for me. There was no real standouts. I guess Hopgood, of course, but everyone's got him. Or 30% don't, which I thought's bizarre. There must be 30% of teams not actually playing. But, yeah, it's an all right week, I guess.
With Hopgood, I mean, there was chat about him being a genuine captain option last week, and to whoever did it, it was a legit option. And hats off if you did it. I think the upside, a lot of people have been searching for that early in the season. Are we going to have to change our tactic? Like, are we going to have to go someone like Hopgood moving forward until we get proven that there is upside? Or do you need to be on that upside guy when it happens?
I mean, it's a tough one. I think the fact that the Eagles play around game one kind of is going to put a few not on captaincy. If he was playing later in the round, I think he's a safe captaincy. I mean, he's top scoring. He scored 2 back-to-back tons. And you have players like Cam Murray you're paying $750K for who banged out a 40 last week, and Hopgood's just, in terms of base stats, just absolutely blitzing him.
Hop goat, they call them. Mikey, what's your tactics with captains moving forward?
The main reason Hopgood was up there to captain last week, props to the guys that do, but the main thing that scared me was I looked at that forward bench. I mentioned it in the pod last week. McIntyre played 0 minutes. This week it got switched to Greg playing 0 minutes. How long can Hopgood maintain 80 minutes? That's why I'm really scared on captaining him all the time. He was awesome in attack, but he did slip up a few times in defense, and surely he's going to go down to 70 minutes. Sorry, that fucking background's of dogs fucking playing. So stop it.
It's
but
happening.
Yeah, it's all happening in my house. You can see it in the window. I've got 2 now. But yeah, so the main thing is I just don't know how long Brad Arthur can constantly keep these minutes going. You've got guys to come back into that pack. So there's going to be a week where you captain him, and I reckon his minutes are going to come down. Is he still going to be a decent option with maybe 60 minutes? Yeah, he will. But then that will leave the door wide open to captain someone with a higher upside. So I'm kind of on the board of going for the higher upside guys. And if I see Hopgood constantly get these for another couple of weeks, and yeah, I might be tempted to straight team. But as Jake said, he plays the first game. So I'm going to stay to my old tactics of captaincy. Over to you, Savs.
Oh, Jesus.
Or is he glitched out?
Are you there?
Yeah,
You're back.
There you go. Yeah,
Over
so
to you, Savs.
I guess the big talking points of the week are the players who pretty much got KO'd. There's Jackson Ford, Brendan Smith, and Kalen Ponga. Kalen Ponga's not named, so obviously a high trade-out target this week. Brandon Smith, what to do with him? Jake, I think none of us own him, actually.
No, I do.
Jake does. We don't have to worry about him, Savs. We weren't keen on him.
Yeah. What are your plans, Jake?
No, he's going. He's going for me. I think there's kind of 2 options that people seem to be going around the price at Wade Egan and Marnie. I like Marnie better. He's playing 80. Egan, although he's had 2 good scores, he's only playing 65, 60 minutes. Obviously, the main guy is Harry Grant. I think Marnie's probably the best bridge to him. I thought Cheese would have been that at the start of the year, but he's looked poor. He's looked unfit, carrying a bunch of injuries, which I don't really want to deal with anymore. So I think like the majority of people, we're all punting the cheese, and hopefully there's Marnie doesn't turn into the cheese. That's for sure. Savs has done a runner on us.
Yeah, as well as I guess, yeah, all. Well, he's coming back. We'll switch it back.
Yeah,
to
so sorry, guys. What a start to the podcast. Where are we at?
Oh no, I was just saying that he's gone for me. I think the injuries in there and the fact that he's going to lose a bit of cash, and there's two guys especially that are on the way up in terms of bridge to Grant. So that's where I'm going.
I guess let's start with that. Wade Egan versus Reed Marnie. They're on the two most traded in this week, and I'm actually trading in one of them for Tanner Boyd this week. Firstly, Tanner Boyd, you think he's a sell, Mikey?
I think he's a luxury sell.
Luxury sell.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% a luxury sell. His break-even's gone up a little bit, but realistically, all he needs is an attacking stat or something to then start generating money. I think there are so many big options this week, and if you've got Harry Grant, there's no need to grab a second hooker. Maybe Wade Egan for the cash grab. I see the option, the cash grab, but there are so many more potential options that I think you can bring in, like Karaz, who could actually turn into a keeper. Reed Marnie can, but could you spend a bit more money next week and get Reed Marnie? 100%. Nico Hines is coming back soon, so all these kind of regions is you're spending money to upgrade Boyd. I even kind of like the option next week to go down to Sonny Luke and use that money to help you get a Nico Hines. So that's just my strategizing. I don't like the Tanner Boyd trade unless you got everything else right and you're good in the rankings. Go for it. But I think there's other burning issues.
The reason I think he is a sell is because how much money can he actually generate before his buy in round? I'm pretty sure it's round 6 or something. How much money can he actually generate between now and then? If he gets a good score this week, the cash flow will start flowing, but you'll need to hold him over. You'll need to hold him over the buy. I mean, if you're not playing him, I think it's not an issue. But if you're forced into playing him most weeks, I think he is a sell. But that being said, if you're not, there's plenty of cheapies like Taruva, Will Warbrick, Isaiah Katoa, Bryce Cartwright, Jacob Preston that you can play instead of him. So maybe I do have to reassess that. But yeah, I'm getting him Reed Marnie. I really like the look of him. I did speak to the Whisperer when I did a preseason podcast with him that his role at Parramatta was just dishing. The halves and the fullback are so dominant at Parramatta, and moving to the Bulldogs, their spine lacks a bit, especially halfback Kyle Flanagan. He's just an organising half. The fullback Hayes Perham, not much creativity coming from there. So a lot of creativity has to come from Reed Marnie. That's why I like him, and I think he is going to be an end-of-year option. Mikey, Reed Marnie versus Wade Egan. What's your personal opinion on it?
If you don't own Harry Grant, Wade Egan. If you do own Harry Grant, Marnie. Purely because I think Egan become a bridge to your Harry Grant if he doesn't become a keeper. Where I think Reed Marnie, if you get him, it's kind of for the long road. With the way he looks to be playing, I think he'd be a second hooker. That's the main reason why I'm not interested in a second hooker, because I think it's luxury to have two gun hookers at the moment where there's just so many other positions that I want to fill up. And right now, all the scoring seems to be happening in your center wing and your second row. So I think it's kind of trying to sort that out early.
Yeah, you actually are selling Brendan Smith. Who are you selling him to?
Reed Marnie, I mentioned before. You had the dart out.
Okay.
I think he's going to be more consistent. He's playing 80 where Wade Egan's playing 60, 65. He's having a little bit of a breather with Walker coming on and playing a bit of dummy half. And Reed Marnie, he looks so involved in their whole attack, I guess. And I think the fact he's playing minutes, he's a much safer option than Wade Egan. Because, I mean, Wade Egan's kind of going to be playing the exact same role he played last year, where he was kind of up and down. He was attack stat reliant, where I think Marnie can get a bit more base out of him.
Yeah, I think when choosing players like Wade Egan, you've really got to have a look and see why are they scoring so well. Is it just a 2-week sample size that it's the absolute best that he's going to do? I think with the Warriors having a new coach, maybe it is a completely different. They've got completely different structures, and Wade Egan is actually a focal point of their attack. With someone like Reed Marnie, his situation has completely changed, so his role has changed. So you can see exactly why the uptick in points has happened. But with Wade Egan, it's not as exact and it's not as transparent why it's happening. So I think we need a lot more of a sample size for it. I want to touch on the most traded out players quickly. Nathan Cleary and James Tedesco are top 4 on the list. Nathan Cleary at number 2, traded out by 10,000 people, and James Tedesco at 6,500. Mikey, I know you've probably toyed with the idea of Tedesco, considering he's got a bye next week, but what are your thoughts on it?
Maybe before we go over that, we should go over our trades, because that's probably going to answer your question. So my trade this week, because then otherwise, I'm trading out Tedesco. I know that's big. It's something I don't normally do, but we floated with the possibility at the start of the season of, with these extra trades and the buys early, kind of play like, fullback roulette. It's not a popular, it is a popular trade, so it's not against the grain, but I just had a vibe and a feeling, and Sabs, you're the biggest guy for go with your gut. I'm going Reece Walsh, so are 7,000 people. That is a very popular trade, but still 7,000 people with his ownership. He's still at 10% as the round sits, roughly. You were big on bringing in Lockie Miller last week, just because he passed the eye test, and Reece Walsh passed every single eye test he could. They've got an awesome draw. They play a lot of games at Suncorp, and the fact is, if he goes big again this week, you're going to have huge ownership next week. For the people that held on to Tedesco, if he goes crap this week, next week you're going to see that exact trade happen again, and it's all about jumping on the week early. So that also generates enough money in the kitty for me to get Nico Hines next week for Kalen Ponga, who I'm surprisingly holding. Trade number 2, Isaac Thompson. I believe he'll make money at some point, but he was awful in that Penrith game. I had no reception, and I thought when I was going to come out those grounds, he was going to be on 5 or even minus, because he dropped the ball like 10 times, and the ball never got to him. It was just left, and it was frustrating me. So over time, he'll make money, but he's going straight to the hammer. I think the hammer is a no-brainer. Looked great, low break even, going to make some money, so I'll bite the bullet and grab him. And trade number 3, it's just because I really want this guy. It might be sideways, but I'm happy to do it. I'm getting rid of Lockie Miller. The Knights, they've lost a lot of punch. I don't like kind of what I know they won on the weekend, but it's just going to get worse from here. So many more guys out, especially with Ponga out. Yeah, Miller might have to do a bit more, but he scored 50 on the weekend with a line break, try contribution, and a lot of tackle busts. So realistically, if they disappear, he's going to have a low score, and he costs 590,000. He's going to Carraz, who I think could be a season keeper, but also if I'm wrong, I'm going to have some money to go off the back of it. The Bulldogs are playing the Tigers this week, who I think they're going to dominate that side. So those 3 guys are all pretty popular trades, but sometimes it's all about going with who you want, and they were my trades before I saw how popular it was. If the Mal's right about Dewey, then I might have to change my trades and sell Ponga. But back to you, Savs. I guess that answers the Tedesco question, but I guess we could debate about it.
Real interesting. I think Cleary and Tedesco, it just seems like a perfect storm for Tedesco. I'll tell you my plan. Straight after the bye, I'm getting in Tedesco for Brimson. So I've got Brimson in my side. I'm selling Brimson for Tedesco because it happens every year, and I want to sing it till the drums come home. I don't know why. So many people think you need to start with him. No, you don't need to start with him. You need to start with whoever you think is going to score most. And Tedesco is going to score most throughout the season probably, but the first 2-3 rounds when you really need to build up your bank flow and stuff like that, it's okay to go against grain here and there. My plan is to go Dewey to Tedesco straight after his bye, because a lot of people are selling him, and I think everyone's going to be cold on him. I'll be getting him in. It'll feel less stupid for me to get him in than someone selling him this week, loses money, and then buying him back.
Wait, did you say Dewey, Sabs? Did you mean Brimson?
Yeah, Brimson, sorry.
Just wanted to clear that up.
And the same with Cleary. I got Cleary in my side. no chance I'm selling him. Like, he's a potential captain option next week against Parramatta. Parramatta defensively, they're leaking points. So it's funny how super coaches work. Like, the top traded out Guns, who didn't score that well the week gone past. The top traded in are players that we don't know how they're going to go throughout a season that have scored really well. I think Karaz is an exception, Mikey, because we've seen the sample size. Round one, they got pumped and scored 51. So I really like that trade in. But yeah, that's
it's
just
not chasing points. Yeah,
no,
I don't think Karaz is chasing points. Like, I can see why people think that, but it's the base. Like, round one, you saw 51 in base. He's a watch for round two. He goes out, scores a double against Melbourne in Melbourne. They have a friendly 2-round draw. You know, like, if you want your centre wing scoring 50 in base, he's making so many runs, and he was great last year. He's young, and he's only going to get better. If this, you know, all the reasons you said about Reid Marnie, that can flow to the back line. And him and Averillo looked awesome together. So, you know, hopefully he's a keeper, and worst case scenario, he's a stepping stone to a gun or a cash generation for your team. So he's a no-brainer, and he's been brought in by, 10,000 people?
Yeah.
He was only 1% owned. So that's still only 12-ish%.
And it's funny because the left side was the one that was absolutely hyped up all preseason. And the right side looks dominant. Like,
amazing.
It's really good how it's worked out. Like, I think they're so smart for doing that, because teams would have just homework on the left. Where the right is having career year already. Jake, I know you've traded Brendan Smith to Reid Marnie. What are your other trades?
Tommy Talau's gone. He's out this week after getting punched in the face by Jason Hastings and carrying on.
Can I stop you there quickly? Mikey, passing on Jacob Preston.
Don't have a choice. So I think it's going to bite me. But as I said before, my second rowers are going crazy. I have nobody to sell. Like, I've got Butcher, Teague Wilton, Hopgood, Cam Murray, Bryce Cartwright. Like, they're all generating money. None of them are sells. So I don't think it's worth grabbing him just to sell someone else. Like, next week, Bryce Cartwright might be hooked to the bench, and then maybe I could just do Cartwright to Preston next week for a kind of a flat trade. But yeah, sometimes you can't get them all. And hey, that spot's not locked in for him. So it might work out in my favor. But yeah, look, I'd grab him instead of Reece Walsh if I had a second rower spot.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Good pickup.
And I guess on Preston, I am bringing in Preston. Mike, you have Nat Butcher, don't you?
Yeah. I have the good Butcher.
So I have Egan, and I'm punting him. He's absolute plotter, it seems. He's just making tackles, not making runs, scoring mid-40s, where Preston, I think, can do that for 280K less. So I'm doing that trade, as well as the Talau to hammer one, Talau gone. And I'm going to have cash to go, probably Walker to Hines next week. So I'm planning a bit ahead, but that's what I'm doing.
I like it. That's what the trade boost and this trade week is about. It's about generating cash for your guns in the future. Mikey, what were you going to say?
Do you both own Elise Katoa?
No.
So I don't. So
you're not bringing him in.
Well, we'll
start. I thought you said your trade, right? Let's go to Sabs before we cut back to Jake.
So I've done Egan Butcher to Eli Katoa, which surprisingly I thought 100% he would have been on top 10 traded in. He's nowhere to be seen there. Crazy.
He was yesterday, so I'm assuming he's on about 2,000 to 3,000. Maybe it's just the high priority in everyone else. It's got to be, which is great. 19% owned, by the way.
No, he's not there. And the number 10 daily Trey Evans is trading by 3,800. So, what's his ownership at the moment
19%. So it's maybe not that much for his,
Yeah. So 50, I've got Egan Butcher to him. I'm a bit. It kind of sucks because I wanted to play the waiting game with Egan Butcher, but Eli Katoa, Jesus, like they've got a decent draw coming up, and the Melbourne were decimated, and he just looked so good. He looked like he's on another level fitness wise.
Got denied a try. Denied 120
or to try at the end. I think very attacking reliant, but at the same time, the first week, 55 with no attacking stats. I think I'll take that. I've also gone Isaac Thompson to Jacob Preston via Braden Williami. I like that trade, but my third trade is Tanner Boyd to to Reed Marnie. But I'm thinking, like with that 200K, maybe I do go Reece Walsh, and they've got a really good draw coming up. And like last week when I got Lockie Miller in for Matt Burton, I had Reece Walsh in there for about 2 days, and I went cold on him because I'm like, I haven't seen anything from him. He didn't pop off last year. I know with the Broncos, like they look like a top 4 side, and him playing fullback.
He looked at home.
Yeah, he's just going to look at home
in that side. Like he already knows that culture.
Yeah, but that being said, he had an absolute blinder and only scored 105. So
one try assist, only the one try assist, and yeah, he had the try in there, but it was mainly line break assists. Yeah, he got So no line break for his try, and he got 3 line break assists in it. Yeah.
He was on like less than 10 at halftime though,
which is scary. But
I think his floor. Who's he playing this week?
He plays the Dragons at Suncorp, and I know Dragons played well last week, but they're going to become the side we think they are, which is towards the bottom, in my opinion. Yeah, it's mainly he's got a nice draw, and I just like that he was in everything. So it's worth a gamble. If Tedesco goes crap this week, then it's perfect because you can just put off getting him back, and he can hopefully lose some money. But another big score for Reece Walsh this week, and you'll see him in the top 5 most traded in next week for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely something to think about. I guess with Reece Walsh, though, it's only his second week, so he's not going to make money this week. And I know with someone like him, it doesn't really matter about the money. But if I'm planning on getting in Tedesco after the bye, I need someone who's on the way up. So maybe, in my case, maybe a Jermaine Asako or a Hammer is someone I should target. And then,
you're not getting the Hammer?
No. Have you got the Hammer, Jake?
I'm bringing him in, yeah.
Bringing him in. That's a big one. He's in the top. He's actually second most traded in. I altered all my trades to get him when originally, before Toy Commander scored that try, I was going Tohu Harris, who's another great buy. But 79, 80. His base attack looks a little bit better. He's got a humongous BE. He's versing an understrength Newcastle Knights this week. He could be the one that got away. Like, even at the moment, if he keeps pumping up these scores and he just goes to mud, he could make a quick 200K, man.
He scored 2 tries on the weekend. Yeah, 2 tries for 80. I think one of them...
One was a support. Like, they're mainly, a lot of them are just support, but that's what he does. He's always there with the line break.
So 24 points in hit-ups, 6 points in tackle busts, 9 points in tackles. So about 45 points.
39.
That's pretty good for the Hammer. That's pretty good for the Hammer.
330K. I think I wouldn't call him a must-have, but if you don't own him, he's like the perfect way, instead of playing some of these cheapies, to plug him in as your third. It's a no-brainer trade this week.
3 tries for 80. I know the cash generation is so tempting.
He's a cheapie,
but
basically.
Yeah, I don't know. You've got to be open to things like this, though, because in the past, being stuck to players of the past, that's gonna get you undone if you refuse to buy it. Like, the stats are there for you to buy him. Like, I should be buying him.
And if he scores only 40 points, he's going up about 90K. So this is kind of the round. Otherwise, you're going to pretty much miss him.
Miss a boat. And what if he just keeps scoring tries and all of a sudden he becomes a 600K player? That's a stepping stone to a Garrick. And quickly, before we move on to whatever you got next, Sabs, Katoa, Jake, not interested, or you just can't make the room? You prefer Preston?
Yeah, I prefer Preston just because I think he's going to make more money, I guess, in the same time. Although Katoa will go higher in price.
Top security?
I think Preston's nailed that spot. He's starting
I think so too.
Now. They only have Pengai back. I don't think they push for Taylor Mariner. I think Preston's locked that spot in. They have massive wraps on him. I think he stays there. I think with Katoa, I've got Liero, which I'm a bit annoyed about. The fact that Munster's injured means they go right more to Katoa. When Munster's back, I think they spread it out a bit more. That's why we saw bloody Katoa getting 3 line breaks on the weekend, because really they're not going to Wishart because he was pretty poo on the weekend.
Yeah, I think Melbourne on the way down. Or like, especially without Munster.
Look how many injuries they have, Savs. Come on.
They got a lot of injuries.
So, like, I'm not
They're
saying
decimated.
Like,
Justin Olam is back this week as well, so he lines up on the left, so that adds something to their left side.
So their left winger will not see a ball at all. Evan Burnett, what's the Dewey mail? So we got mail just a bit earlier that he could potentially be out. So
maybe from the Discord page. But apparently I read today that last week there was mail that Sean Bloor was out in this same Discord and he got named and he only got a late scratching on that day. So they've got a 1 out of 1, or from what I know, they got that right last week. These are Super Tiger fans. Like, I'm worried if they get it right because I have no 5'8" this week if he's out.
Can play Kalen Ponga. Pretty much got the same score last week.
If your VC,
he's not playing either.
Just keep a good VC score handy.
No VC used this week, but we'll get to that.
Mitch Webster, I was hoping Val was going to play fullback. I'll give him one more week. If he doesn't perform, is he a trade? Interesting question. I'll go with you, Jake. Your brother's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, he is. He was quite disappointed. He doesn't like you in the Broncos. But I think you brought Val in for this run where he's got no buys against some, a decent run, a lot in Queensland. I mean, he's scoring 50-ish points, really not involved in any attack. This Tom Chester that's coming in, there's big raps on him as well. He's quite good. So I think he's not quite drink water, but he's, I think he'll do a good enough job, better than bloody what Hiku offered at fullback last week when he filled in there when he was binned. Yeah,
Tom Chester is like a Kalen Ponga / Reece Walsh kind of player, but he's played more halves coming through the grades. So
I guess it's a lot like drink water. But I wouldn't be trading him out. You've kind of when you started with Val Holmes, you're kind of going to keep him until Origin pretty much. The scores will come, the tries will come. I think he's in for a big one this round, actually.
All right, moving on to we'll go to some more traded out players and just we'll give an answer whether it's a yes or no, and we'll touch on it quickly. Tanner Boyd, you already touched on it. Jake, Tommy Talau, Chance Nickel Clockstad.
He's out. He's not playing this week.
He's
out.
He's out. Yep. Scott Drinkwater is a sell. Matt Burton. I think last week I pretty much said that Matt Burton, he's a sell if you feel it. And I think after this week, it's very tough because they've got West Tigers at Belmore. What are your thoughts on Matt Burton? Like, if you've held him this long, high BE, do you sell him, Mikey?
I think you sell him. We kind of were on the sell board last week, and then this week they played awesome in Melbourne. They scored all those points, and he pumps out a 30. Depends who you go to. If you've got Jules, or maybe he could be a stepping stone Hines. He's going to lose money. So maybe you could take a punt and grab Josh Schuster early, who's been named at 5'8". But there's a lot of risk in that. But, yeah, I'd be selling. It's just, I'm not really keen on too many halves as of yet. Like, a lot of just to wait and see. It's which is weird because normally it's not the case.
You're not keen on halves, but number 6 on the traded in list is Ezra Mam. I think he may potentially be a Kalen Ponga replacement. He has looked, honestly, golden to start the year. He looks like he's going to kick on in his second year. But is he the SuperCoach option that we're looking for as a replacement for Kalen Ponga? There's not much at 5'8" at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to go if I was going to trade Ponga. B of 25, but he needs those attacking stats. I think he's got a very low floor. He's scary to own.
He does take a lot of runs in his defense. He looks quite busy. I think the fact that the Broncos are going to be better. He's linking up good on that left side.
Yep.
SuperCoach friendly. I don't mind it, but like Mikey said, there's not really any 5'8s sort of out there. You've got Dylan Brown, whose price is too far gone to kind of pick up him. Munster's not there. Dewey's, majority of people probably have Adam Dewey already, and the Tigers look poo. So Ezra Mann's probably the best
gamble on Schuster.
Or Schuster.
Go crazy.
But although if you've got, say, Schuster and Katoa as your 5'8s, you're looking at 5'8 and you're going, oh no, spend a 4.
Yeah, that's only if Katoa's at your halfback. Yeah.
Talking about Katoa, with Nathan Cleary out, I assume a lot of us have him. Are you comfortable playing him this week against a depleted Knight side?
Yeah, happily. That's why.
Even with the hammer?
Yep. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't really have a choice. I'm selling Tedesco. I'm not going to sell Cleary. I think I'm not worried about it. There's a lot of 10,000 people have jumped off Cleary. That's huge. Make him a pod. Go for it. He'll make everyone pay. Like, if Manly come back and go crazy after the rest, we saw the Dragons do it. Then that might say, hey, Penrith have just had the rest. What if Penrith come back off this rest and even though they're versing Para at home, he might blitz it. So yeah, Katoa. Look. If he doesn't get these attacking stats, he's going to have a very low score. But, try assist last week, try assist the week before. He's building. He'll have a game where I reckon he'll score a try. And, yeah, very depleted night side this week. So, I'm not going to play him with ultra confidence, but he's a backup kicker if something happens to O'Sullivan.
That's fair. So we'll move on to the games.
Azako.
Oh, yeah, Zako.
Yeah. He's probably the third. I don't know if he beats O'Sullivan to the kicker.
No, I reckon he could be second. He could be second.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move on to the games. You got anything else to say before we move on?
No, you go through.
Yeah, sweet. Lads, we had a massive weekend on PickleBet. A lot of you jumped on the code, so thanks for doing that. I think we'll do another multi for Super Saturday this weekend. I think we'll target potentially the Titans Storm game at 3:00. That's probably the best time slot to watch. So keep an eye out on the socials for our same game multi there. PickleBet, I was meant to record with them today, but we're doing it next week. So keep an eye out for that. But they're seriously, their app is so friendly to use compared to some of the others. I think they run so smoothly, and I'm really excited to be on board with PickleBet. So if you're going to sign up, use the code. Let us know that you've signed up, and yeah, they'll take care of you. And I think at the moment, if you sign up, they give you a $25 free deposit matched bonus. That's one of their promotions that they just run anyway if you sign up regardless. So that was on Saturday they were doing that. So I'm not sure if they're still doing it now. So yeah, if you do sign up, just make sure to let us know and we'll give you a thanks. And I wonder where that Ezra guy is because we've still got to send him that stubby cooler. He didn't message us, so make sure to message us, Ezra. Eels and Manly, guys, who are we targeting in this game? Not many changes here, but Bryce Cartwright, Matt Dory still there. Are we playing Bryce Cartwright still? I played him last week, and I'm very happy.
100%.
Yeah, happy to play him.
Yeah, he hasn't scored a try yet. He looked like very close to getting one last week. Tough ass. Like, I think Manly are going to beat him, and it's going to be a hard game for him at home. But, Parramatta aren't going to want to be 3-0, so they're going to give it everything. But, yeah, look, 50 points. He's offloading the ball. I think he's a pretty safe play. I'm happy between, 50 points is great. If he scores a try, or I reckon he's coming close to that try.
He is. I saw a play last week where Dylan Brown he ran the exact line. Like, he just ran the Sean Lane line, and he nearly went over. He's probably not quite there at strength compared to Sean Lane, but promising signs. If he's running off Dylan Brown's hip, he's a play for me until one of the second rows come back, and then I'll reassess. Jake, cheers for that early mail on him because I probably would have started with Dory if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it was it's good knowing people, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. Tom Trbojevic looked like he was in second gear in that first game. We looking at a bounce back here?
Bounce back. He at least turned up the first game.
Yeah, but
what do you mean?
Do we think he's going to go in third gear?
Oh yeah, he might get out of second in this one. I think they'll have to. I think definitely Para will be better than.
Are you talking about Tom Savs?
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah. Sorry.
DCE is on the top 10 traded in this week. I assume it's for Cleary. What are your thoughts on it? Because Manly have a mixed draw at the moment.
Sideways?
It's probably backwards. I mean, Cleary's got more of the pedigree with goal kicking in a better side.
Yeah.
It's maybe people trying to get cash. It's a bit bizarre.
All right. The Knights.
Well, before you move on, Garrick. I mean, Garrick's got to be after 115 or something, whatever in the first game. He's got to be on our radars in the next couple of weeks.
100%. He's going to be the guy that, the fair chunk start with him, but he's just going to let you behind. Same thing going back to Tom, like the pair of them this week. I'm not sure if they're on Simonson and Wanga Blake's side. If they are, Garrett could be in for. If they are, they're woeful. that edge is shocking, and
I'll be
I think Tom.
Because I think Wanga's on Sivo's side.
Okay, yeah, but either way, so there's issues on both sides. But I just think Tom, if he floats to both, he's just going to be blitzing through, and I reckon Garrick's in for another big score, and then that basically makes you buy him next week, or watch him keep going up like he loves to. So yeah, he's got to be on your watch list, like Jake said.
He's the kind of guy that a lot of people wait for later in the season once a few drops have happened. But with that ton in round one, it's not going to happen for a while. So I think jumping on him earlier might be a nice little pod move that could get you up the ranks, and could be a solid move. Moving on to the Knights and the Dolphins. Jeremy Marshall-King is out. So, he's been one of their best players the first 2 weeks. Do we think that stifles the Dolphins? On the other side of the park, though, Jaden Brayley and Kalen Pong are out, and Jacob Safidi, they're in
Frizzell.
And
Frizzell. They're missing a lot of punch. Look at that bench, a lot of inexperience.
They're in all sorts, but at the same time, they still did quite well against the Tigers, given all this.
Tigers.
That was that. Look, I haven't I've seen a lot of games. That's probably the worst game of football I've seen. That was terrible. That game, Knights and Tigers.
I think it was a touch better than that Tigers Titans game last year, but I think it's going to be a very hard game to beat this year for the worst game of the year. That was torture. Torture almost.
It was quite bad. But Lockie Miller, Mikey, I got him in last week. I'm quite happy.
Right.
I'm quite happy with him, but given the Knights and how weak they are, $590K is it too much?
Jumping off.
Is it too much to hold for someone like him?
No, not at all. The only reason is I don't have anyone else to sell in my center wing, and there was an option where I could have got rid of Khan Pereira and gone up to the hammer, but I'm going to lose all my cat. I've got $370K in the bank. So sometimes you got to play, always be 2 steps ahead. I want that money. I can do Ponga to Hines next week. Don't need to do another trade. So that's kind of why it's all right, I may as well sell Miller to generate that cash, and that'll make it worth it. But he's only one try off a big score, but $590K, as I said, if the Knights regress now, and especially if Ponga's out for the year, I think it hurts him. Although he's going to be over the ball more, it's going to hurt him. And when if he gets to 20 or something, then he's going to start losing money pretty fast. I've been happy 50 and 50. I took a bit of a gamble on him at the start. I don't think it was a bad gamble, but I think maybe I'm just going to jump off to make some money.
Tyson Gamble, he looked good.
He's not.
No, not SuperCoach wise, but that 8 o'clock game.
Yeah, he played well.
That 8 o'clock game on Friday night is the Roosters versus the Rabbitohs. There's a few changes here.
Radley, Hargraves are both back. Brandon Smith's been named, which was a bizarre one, but even so, I still think he's a trade out. Even if he does, he's carrying injuries. I don't think you really want that in SuperCoach.
It's a pain manager. Yeah.
So
one hit, he's gone.
Totola and Harmsele are back, so I don't know if I would have thought Shaq Mitchell and Davey Moali would have been popular this week, but
Shaq Mitchell was actually quite popular. He's got a minus 30-something break even with back-to-back 50s.
50
but I think
50,
the return of those two, I think, is going to hurt his minutes.
Yeah, for sure. And Davey Moali was apparently he wouldn't have played if they didn't have so many forwards out last week, but they did. So he was struggling, but he's back this week and hopefully at full strength. But yeah, both forward packs look a bit better. I was quite interested in Lindsay Collins for a bit. Back-to-back 60s, played 77 minutes last week. But with the likes of Radley and Jared back, I think it's a bit hard to kind of gauge that. And especially at $455K, I would have had to sell a second roller to get him. And
and he's like a front rower that you don't really want to be playing too much with middle front rowers.
Yeah. This week, I think I might be targeting Cameron Murray as my captain this week. So I guess we'll go through that in captains, but I'm just thinking that scored 129 against him last year. I think that's
also got one when he got knocked out in the first minute.
Though. Oh, there you go. There you go. But this exact coinciding game last year, he scored 129. So early in the season, when the Roosters aren't humming, it is a forwards battle. And Cameron Murray usually gets all up in it. But he didn't play 80 minutes last week, so a bit concerned about that.
Well, the fact he was mainly managed last week means he might be,
That's true. That's true. They might play roulette with him, so it might be 1 week off, like kind of time managing. The Titans and Melbourne. Xavier Coates is back. Justin Olam is back. Tarek Sims is in. He is on the bench, so that's another forward they've got back. Jonah Pezzett is on the bench, so that's cover for Wishart, I assume. Isaac Fasuamalawi.
brothers in the team.
Fasuamalawi. He's on the bench, so he's Tino's brother.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how he goes. But that bench, that looks small. That bench looks small. So what are our thoughts here? So, Jake, my pressing issues in my side. I mean, Nick Meaney in his side that got pumped 38. I think just because he scored 38, I was a bit worried, but did nothing.
Yeah, I mean they didn't really do anything. I think attack will come, especially over the next couple of weeks. They've got some all right games. I think this game they can score quite a few points against the Titans. So we saw St. George score them for fun.
Yeah, exactly. And AJ Brimson on the other side.
Yeah, he has looked good. I think he was a bit off last week, was he?
He looked good at the start.
He looked good.
He looked good at the start, but it just didn't. He just didn't kick on. Like there was an early try assist, and I was cheering. I was loving life. But Tino, he looks like 111 on the weekend as a front rower, scored a try. Timmy's got him in his side, and
huge.
He was speaking to me on the weekend, and he was pretty much saying, if Tino doesn't perform this week, I can go to anyone. So that's why I started with him. Now he probably can't go to anyone. That's exactly what you buy him for, though. Like 38 in the first week, you take that because he gets 111 in the second week. Anyone else in this game? Anyone targeting? Eli Katoa, obviously, massive option.
I think he's kind of the only one. I know a lot of people bringing in DCE for Cleary. Jerome Hughes, I think, is another all right option at half as well. If for some reason you are selling Cleary for a halfback this round.
Without Pappenhausen, Jerome Hughes averages significantly more. Without Munster, that goes to another level. So, really good shout. And they've got a nice little draw coming up. And Melbourne, they don't lose by – well, they don't get pumped 2 weeks in a row. I think in the last few years they've come back to life with how they perform. But I think it's going to be very different there. Cowboys and the Warriors. Drinky's gone. So, obviously, he was a popular option to start the preseason. Drinky's gone. Peter Higu's gone. On the other side, Jackson Ford's gone. That's a blow. He was looking like a good cheapie, but I'm glad.
Would have jumped early last week.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't jump.
Yeah. I was heavily considering it too. But
NC and K as well. He's out. So I guess if you don't have Hammer, I think maybe that's the trade. If you don't have any other centre wings to punt.
Yeah,
to second row, which is a key change. Was he prop last week?
Playing middle,
yeah, he was.
And then when Ford went off, I think he went. No, Curran came on. Played.
So Bunty's at prop.
Yeah, Tohu Harris. He's pumped out another 80 minutes. Oh, what are our plans on Tohu? Surely he's got to be a priority at some point.
Break even to 30, so I think he's a big trade this week. I'm not sure if he's in the top 10, but as I said, Toy Kamani for me, if he went average, it would just to go to Harris because, like always, he's going to be one of those players that just because of all the other pressing issues, he's just going to slowly keep making money and it's going to be harder and harder to get. But he's someone right now. If he keeps this up, you want him as your front row keeper. I prefer. Yeah, he's probably the best option in my opinion for the price, and just in that team, he kind of has to work a bit harder. This is a week to get him, and then Hind is going to come back, so your priority is going to be him. So you're just going to keep missing him, which sucks. But prefer him in the front row. But if you can only get him in the second row this week, I'd do it. Huge option.
There's not many other changes in the games coming up. One key change: Isaiah Papali'i, he is out for the Tigers. So
yeah, he's just copped a suspension, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And against the Bulldogs at Belmore with, Jacob Preston starting, Reid Marnie a popular buy, Jacob Carraz a popular buy. Like, it's going to be a tough watch if you don't have a couple of these players, especially Jacob Carraz with the high upside.
And also, there's like Dane Laurie's being dropped as well.
Yeah.
Charlie Stain who's playing fullback.
No, I heard
Super on the wing. Is
he-
Preston?
Sorry?
Preston, wasn't he in lock last week?
He
was named at lock, but he played edge.
But he played
Okay,
edge.
cool. Because I missed
RFM
the
went
first set.
for lock.
Because I was going. Yeah. All right, so it's named how it was last week.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of the tohu from last year where he likes the number 12, but you can't keep doing that. I think I like how he's jumped RFM in the pecking order. Like, I don't know if it's just because they're short on middles, but he looks like a goer, and I think he's won his spot. Like, Tim Williams was really on the money. He was really hot on Jacob Preston, and I was like, he's starting off the bench. A second row off the bench isn't really, but this guy, the eye test is. You have to go off the eye test with this one, and he looks very good.
Scary not grabbing him. I'm actually scared not grabbing him.
With the Tigers as well, John Bateman's name and extended, so he potentially comes in if that foot's fine. Punts out maybe Kupoa or Bloor. I think a few people would have started with Bloor. He's HIAs. If you don't have Preston, Bloor Preston. Only gets you 30K, but at least his Preston's going to be making you a lot of money.
Unpopular opinion, but I think Jacob Preston is a better buy than the Hammer.
Yeah, but they're different positions. Oh, yeah. The Hammer's not going to lose his spot. I don't think Preston is either, but yeah. It's hard to compare because they're different positions.
Yeah, that's true. Franklin Pele on the bench, he looked better on the weekend, and I think you don't necessarily have to worry about him. Like, if you're worried about getting rid of him to go to a Shaq Mitchell or something, I don't think it's worth it. I think there'll be some point where he goes over for a try and his money growth just starts happening very quickly, and then that's the point where you'll sell him. You're not going to play him. It might be a bit of a loophole nightmare, but at the same time, how many times do we actually loophole without the buys anyway? So I think he's someone that he'll ease in. He's going to be a very slow burn. I think the tackle break ability is just something that you can't replace in SuperCoach. What else have we got?
The last game, Savs, the Sharks and the Raiders. The key one is no Papali'i still. So for the guys that started with Solo, he's 40 and 40, gets at least one more week at starting 8 to quickly make some quick cash before you offload.
And one of those people would be you, wouldn't they, Mikey?
Yeah, and that was purely because of Savs, actually, which kind of swayed me. Just because I wasn't really made up. It was Pele or him, and right now I'm kind of a bit happier with Solo. So
did you start with Solo?
Yeah. I switched him when I read that thing that you said. I said I liked it, and I was like, screw it, I'll give him a go. And
so break even minus 15. He scored 42 and 43 in 40 odd minutes.
That's good for a slow burn, but
Solo was going to stick around. I mean, this is inside info. It's done us well, hasn't it?
It's so far. It's a good strike rate, and I guess with the Sharks, we didn't really fully say it that Nico Hines come out saying that he's close to playing. That next week he's going to get named. Whether or not that happens, but which is huge. So
and I guess a few people are thinking of bringing in Trindle. That's put a line through him. He'll get a price rise this week, but he'll be probably back to 14, scoring 5 points. So
I think
week,
that was yes. Guess that's
1 week of price rises isn't enough to justify bringing in. Like, even if they are negative 90 break even, it's not enough.
Yeah, I think people were hoping that Hines was going to come back after the bye. So maybe that's why people would have gone, all right, I can get Trindle for 3, 4, 5 bye. That's 3 prior slices and then move him on. But even then, I'm not really keen on that. But I think maybe that's what these Trindle owners are thinking.
Guys, it's been all over the place podcast. It's been really all over the place. It feels less structured than it has been all season, but I think it's
good
just
info nonetheless.
There's so much to talk about, and I don't think we're going to be able to cover it all. But I do want to ask some questions just around trade strategies. So Jake, how are you going to manage your trades over the next couple of weeks? I know. How'd you go last week? Did you save any trades?
Yeah, I didn't make any trades last week, so
yeah.
I'm fine with making 3 with the boost this week.
So I made 1. I think the boost is the play this week. Do you see where a boost could be a play for the next week as well?
I mean, it depends on sort of what you cop and price rises. But yeah,
injuries.
I'm looking at maybe using a boost again next week. I think we like last year was the first year we had boosts, and we kind of got to the back of the season. We're going, we should have used these earlier.
Yeah,
use them much earlier than just leaving them for the end and for buys. So I think making money early is going to be key, and I think boosters is how you're going to do that.
Just on the boost, Savs, I'm pretty sure that this year, correct me if I'm wrong, that in that big trade week, we don't get the max trades. You know how last year we got 5 trades or something like that? I think that's gone this year. And you've actually got to, is that not the case? And you've got to use a boost? So
you get 3 trades anyway before every buy round. So if you use a boost, you get
not
4.
As much. Yeah. So maybe the boost could be used, even though the buy rounds have changed, but I think it'd be handy to keep a couple for that just in case.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying burn all 5 in the first.
No, but just because that's something we didn't have last year. That's my thought process for that.
It really depends how many trades you've saved as well. Like if you haven't saved any trades during the year, the boost is going to mean nothing to you because you're not going to be able to use them later in the year. I think you've got to have a few weeks where you save a trade here or there. Like if you didn't save trades last week, then the next 2 or 3 weeks, you've really got to prioritize at least saving 1. And then over the next few weeks after that, I think you've got to try and save 2, maybe 3. And it's so tough because a lot of teams have had their buys and a lot of players' price rises have been held back because of their buys. So, the St. George players, the Manly players, and then the Penrith players, they'll all be priorities next week because their buys will be finished. So, I think next week the boost will be valid, but after that, I think the saving of trades is going to be crucial because the buy period is going to be so tough this year. It's going to be like nothing we've ever dealt with before, where we're dealing with buys every week. A lot of people are panicking. Like every team on a buy, the biggest player from that side has always been in the most traded out, haven't they, Jake?
Yeah, well, Cleary's getting punted. Teddy, who has a buy next week, is getting punted this week, and then we'll get punted next week. So,
yeah,
people are panicking. They're worried that I don't want to play this guy. I want to play someone else.
Don't get me wrong, though. I feel like it is a good tactic, but doing it every week it's going to catch up on you. Like I think that there is a stage like the Titans. Like I have AJ Brimson. Like I think AJ Brimson's not going to be in my side all year, so I think it makes sense to sell him on to like a Tedesco or a Hines coming up. So I think you'd be smart with the trades and the buys. And Mike, you got anything to add on that?
No, I totally agree with both of you. I think it's going to work sometimes, like trading out a guy for a buy. Hence, the main reason I liked about selling Teddy was the fact that he was on a buy next week. It's going to catch up on you fast doing that. So make the trades and use the boost when it's necessary, but then also find time to kind of save. And I think a lot of it depends on how you scored. I think that's why I was happy to save 2 last week is purely, just so because I scored well. So I think that plays into it as well. So just kind of track how you're going. But look, if you made trades last week and you got guys like Ford and that in, it actually would have cost you. So sometimes it's good just to be a bit patient with some of these options.
Jake, who is your buy of the week? We didn't start with this, but who is the buy of the week?
Oh, I think Preston. I mean, he's not an exciting pick. I know I had
You took
left
my
field picks last time.
you took
but,
my buy.
I'm sorry. I'm going Preston. 200K. A lot of people don't really have him, and I think playing massive minutes on that edge for the Dogs, I think he's a lock.
Who's your buy of the week, Mikey?
Oh, it's tough. Like, I think I'm always practical with it. I reckon Karaz could turn out to be the buy of the week, but I'm going to probably stick. It's tied between him and Hammer. I just think the Hammer purely because of what he can do and the price he's going to make. Yeah, I got to agree with you with Preston as well, but yeah, he could be the buy of the week.
Mike, you might be trading him in now.
No, I can't. I don't have the second rolls, and I refuse to sell like someone like Wilton, who's only going to get better with Hines, and Nat Butcher's been good. Like, I think that'd be worse to do that. Sorry, if he goes really good this week again, then I can reassess next week.
I think,
get him for a bit more.
Sell Nat Butcher.
Nah, I like my 3 trades. My gut instincts have been well.
Yep.
Yeah, he does have a bye coming up. It could be an option for next week, but he hasn't scored a try and he's getting 60s. He's in for a 90. It could be this week, so he could be a trade next week down to Preston if I really wanted to, but I want another week to look at it.
All right, you've left me very thin with options after Jacob Preston and the Hammer.
Sure went first, mate.
But I'm going first next week, all right? Actually, I'm not here next week, but I'm going to go, I think, going against the grain this week, and the best purchase for this week is going to be Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, you actually missed the first question where he said Sav, he didn't like the he never talked about it either, Sav.
Yeah, no, well that's my cue to bring it up. I think a lot of people are selling Cleary, and I see why. If you're getting him in next week, or like, yeah, I don't know, but Adam Reynolds with the draw, goal kicking, he's got St. George, and then he's got, hold on, let me bring it up.
Is it the Warriors? No.
He's got St. George at home, the Dolphins at Suncorp, the Tigers at Suncorp, and then the Raiders at Suncorp, and then the Titans, Titans at Seabus.
That's pretty unfair.
And then the Titans at Seabus.
So you talk about unfair, Mike. You had 2 home games in a row.
Well, yeah, but that's common. That's 3. Well, we do now go to away. So like it balances.
The Dolphins game is an away game, so that's the around that. And I just really think Adam Reynolds is the type. Maybe Reece Walsh takes a bit away from him, and now thinking of it, he probably does. But I think he went on runs last year where he went up to near 700K. I think if you're selling Cleary, I'd prioritize getting in Cleary next week because I think the Parramatta matchup is a very good one. But if you're going to get someone pottish, like, nah, I don't like it. I lose.
Don't sell him. Remember the last time he had a high break even?
Yes.
Remember the time we had that high break even and everyone was worried selling, and then he goes bang, and then it was over like 150 and he pumped it.
Don't get me wrong.
He's going to get to those feet at some point.
He's a must-have. Like, selling him is the wrong move.
Just going up to own.
Same time, like, if it's a 1-week play, you're selling to Adam Reynolds. I hate it, but at the same time, I kind of like it. I just like the Adam Reynolds play. Like, maybe Kalen Ponga to Adam Reynolds via Isaiah Katoa, and then hold on to Adam Reynolds as a pod for the next few weeks. I don't know. It's interesting. I think Jake wins with Jacob Preston, though, because I think he's slammed up. Bold predictions and captain choices. Let's go, Mikey.
All right, captaincy choices. I don't really like the captaincy choices too much for this week, like later in the game. So I'm going realistically, it's going to be one of my fullbacks with the captaincy. Maybe Reece Walsh, as I've got a pair of nuts, but I think I'll go the straight C on Turbo. Had the week off. Looked good in round 1. He's got another world to go to, and I love him at 4 Pines Park. Probably most likely him. My bold predictions would be Turbo to go 120 plus. combine that with Karaz to impress again with 80 plus. And then we're going to go Jacob Preston to disappoint, make me happy, and go 40 under 40.
Under 40, Jesus. Crazy, isn't he?
That's
bold.
bold.
That's a hard one. That one, he's hoping that doesn't happen.
Hey, all three of them are.
Speaking of ones that he hopes doesn't happen, I reckon Tedesco is going to finally have a good game, and I think he's going to hurt both of these actually, because Mikey's getting rid of him. I think he finally gets a ton. He was 2 passes away from getting a double, and then on the weekend, and then get the try. So I think he'll get a ton. Like Mikey, I think Turbo gets one as well. Not really exciting, but I think he built into it from what he did in round 1. He's got an extra week off, I guess, and in training. I mean, he missed a lot of the preseason training. I don't know about captaining him. I've got him as a VC at the moment, and like you said, I think Cam Murray might be my C. If I feel a bit bold, it might be Val Holmes, but Cowboys lost a lot of players. So I'm unsure I'm captain yet, but Turbo's somewhere there.
Guys, I just need to talk quickly. Michael Cheekham. He's a cheapie.
He is a cheapie, and he's dual, isn't he? Center wing.
Yeah, dual center wing, 230K.
We spoke about him last week, and he's, they played shocking against the Panthers, and he pumped up enough score to kind of generate some cash.
So,
Palm Saleh,
I mean,
on an edge.
If you got enough of these players, I think Jai Arrow out?
Yeah, he's still out. But
Yeah.
I think Arrow's going to be used as a middle forward, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it. But yeah, Cheekham, starting edge, could be a goer. He is a goer. But I'm going to do my bold predictions, and my bold prediction is just going to be a multi. So Bryce Cartwright to score a try in the first game, Kenny Bromwich to score a try against the Knights as the Dolphins, Nat Butcher to score a try. So it's going to be a second roll.
I was about to say second roll multi.
Roosters versus Rabbitohs. Titans versus Storm, Eli Katoa. Cowboys versus Warriors, Nanai. Broncos versus Dragons, Jordan Ricky. Bulldogs versus Tigers.
Going every game.
Yeah.
Yes, he's building an ultra multi. Chuck some money on it, Savs.
Who's going to be paying about $100,000?
Bulldogs versus the Tigers. Billy Army kick out to kick off the season with a try. And Raiders versus Sharks.
Wilton.
Nah, I'm not feeling him. Hudson Young. So it's going to be a bounce back of the try scorers from last year this weekend. So I'm going to put that in a multi and see how that goes.
Yeah, he's done after round 1.
Round 1. And my captain is Cameron Murray. It might be a late switch to Tom Trebojevic. 4 Pines Park on a Thursday night. If it's not wet, there's every chance I go with Turbo. But it does worry me that he wasn't at full pace in the first game. Hopefully the week off did him well.
With 97 but in the off pace. 97.
Against Parramatta, do they bounce back? There's every chance they do, but at the same time, Manly looking good.
Rest off the bye. Are you scared, like, after your straight C failing last week, are you a bit put off it this week, Savs? Like,
a little bit.
Do you want to go back to basics?
A little bit, because I love waiting till Saturday till like the 3 or the 5:30 game or the 7:30 game even to have my captain play. I love like having a few drinks, sitting back, relaxing, watching my captain play and having the captain up the sleeve. The weekend just gone so depressing, like 40 on the Thursday night. I just didn't want to watch footy until Saturday came around again. I was like, I'm in a good position here. Bloody, pretty sure, was it Jackson? No, it wasn't. There was no carnage up until Saturday. So, I was pretty down on my hopes until the 3 o'clock game where Teddy didn't go nuts and Cheese didn't go off and Jackson Ford went off. I was pretty good after that, but I don't think I'll put myself through that again. But he's definitely my VC. Like you've got Cleary there as backup to loop, so I think it's a perfect week to loop. Thinking about it.
I mean, you're still copying an ordinary score from one of
Franklin.
your plotters or an 8 Camp Pereira 5. So if he doesn't score a try, he's at 5 again.
He's going to be the most popular VC choice. So realistically, if you want to go against the grain, that's why I kind of like the straight C. Purely to combat if he goes massive, then everyone's going to jump on him, and then you hope for Khan Pereira to score 5, and that's kind of how you can jump up there. That's why, yeah.
It's good thinking, Mikey.
What about Lockie Miller to Ruben Garrick?
He's starting to change his mind. Hey, just because I'm selling Miller, bro, you don't need to sell him. But look, I don't think he's a sell. But for me, he's the only guy to sell to get what I want. So then it's worth it. But I honestly reckon you should get the hammer.
Ruben Garrick's in my side.
You're not worried about Hines?
Not really.
You're not worried about getting some money?
No, I'm prioritising Tedesco before Hines.
All right.
Let him go, Mikey.
Yeah, I'll let him go. I want
better than all of us last year. He's the Messiah.
Yep, but that means he's off this year.
Yeah, no, there's every chance.
According to the SuperCoach experience history, he's off.
Or whose turn is it? It's Mikey's turn.
No, it's Jake hasn't come first. Yeah, it's Jake, because it went me, Tim, Sabs.
I leave all my good luck for BBL, though. That's my downfall.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
or it's me or Jake.
I'd rather rank good in SuperCoach NRL than BBL.
Hey, if you can win the BBL, go for it.
You see the guy who won back-to-back?
We haven't mentioned it. That's absolutely crazy.
Oh, I mentioned it on a preseason podcast. No, I didn't. I was speaking to Tommy Sangster, and he was asking, what do you think of BBL? And I was like, yeah, you can get into it. It's definitely the second best SuperCoach platform after NRL, but just at the same time, it's like so hard to keep up with, like if you're not ranking well.
Do you reckon it'd be harder? It'd definitely be harder to go back to back in the NRL one.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be more impressive if someone went back to back in NRL than the BBL?
Oh, yeah, it's still pretty impressive though. Like the fact.
No, I'm not taking away from him. That's absolutely amazing. It's still 1 in 60K chance.
Yeah, like I was telling Tommy Sangster, like there was one week where my VC was Adam Lith and my captain was Jason Berendoff, and none of them were playing, and it was locked out by the time I looked at it, and like I was fucked. I was gone that week. What's going on here? Huge reaction.
No,
Cristiano.
He's been a bit of a troll.
He's been a dog. You've been a dog. All right, let's go, lads. Big podcast all over the place. Sorry.
No, but the first thing, Saz, we'll definitely be doing that quiz stuff again. That was good. And then
yeah, that was fun.
People that said it was good. So.
You miss out on that. So get the Kahoot app on your phone so you're ready for it next week. And maybe I'll give you guys access so you can add some questions.
So we can do questions.
Cool.
Hey, yeah.
Maybe that's a good thing for an actual segment on the show. Like, is that the SuperCoach quiz that we've been waiting for?
That is.
Yeah, maybe it's better in the middle when you get a few more guys on. And definitely, like, chucking not only SuperCoach questions, but questions about us. I thought that was a good idea, Saz.
Yeah, well, I only put 7 in there. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, I'll just go live as soon as we're in the lobby. I didn't know how
some good feedback there.
Yes. Yep. Oh, the gamer is very keen on
it. Yeah. Let's bring it. Let's bring it into a segment. Let us know what you think.
Cheers, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Good luck with the SuperCoach. I hope everybody does well.